Hi, this is Anthony Douglas. This is my case study, the Truman Elementary School. So, what do we know about Truman Elementary? Well, we know it's a school of about 700 students in a suburban community in a mid-sized Midwestern city with grades pre-K through 8. We know that the seventh grades are divided into teams, and 15% of the school's students qualify for free and reduced lunch, and 5% speak a primary language other than English. We know that the principal has been there for 2 years, comes from outside the school but still within the district. We also know that the reading scores are not as high as math scores on the standardized test, and that parents are starting to express some concern. We also know that the principal has asked a reading specialist to develop remediations and recommendations to help instructional practices after observing classrooms and observing instructional practices as well. We know that the State Department is offering a grant to the schools who have research-based great reading programs, and there's a 2-year commitment asked from the superintendent. What we don't know is the current reading curriculum that's being used. Are the students being taught by reading specialists or just regular teachers? How the current data on the students is being collected, how they're being assessed, and how it's being understood to make reading instruction decisions. We also don't know how will teachers be trained to use the new curriculum, and what's the mobility and attendance rate of the students currently. So the problem is that Truman Elementary has a low reading scores on standardized tests, and the instruction for reading is not effective to help students achieve in the area of reading. Teachers are in need of higher level of professional development and curriculum that will align for the best practices for student success. So there's a plan of action. We know what the data says, so we need to show the numbers. And what do they show? What do they show the weaknesses are? What do they show the strengths are? We also need to show and understand that there's a concern from the stakeholders and from the PTO. We also know that there's reading specialists has findings, and we need to take those into account to understand what those might be and how they're going to affect the learning style in the class. We also need to look at a curriculum team. How can a curriculum team help Truman, evaluate and establish and implement better reading curriculum for more effective instruction and more effective teaching and more effective student success in reading? And we need to make sure that there's plenty of parent communication between teachers and parents. So how do we implement the plan? Well, first things first, we'll have to create a curriculum team to be able to go and assess and find effective curriculum. Then develop professional teacher training through professional development and effective teaching to the teachers themselves. If need be, an instructional coach should be hired or given the opportunity to help teachers learn how to become better and more effective teachers. And for teachers who are reluctant, the instructional coach could help them be more effective as well. A data leader would be great at this point. The data leader could come in, help the teachers understand what the data says, help the teachers understand what the data means, and help the teachers and administration understand how we need to do things differently to have different data and how to create a different data chart so that students are more successful in the area. We need to implement the plan also through the PTO and to get parent support. So if there's an understanding that this curriculum isn't just for teachers, but it's also to make sure students are more successful. So what's best for students? What's best for students is instruction meeting the needs of the individual student, not just the whole. Curriculum that's based on the needs of each individual student, continuous monitoring and screening of students so that as we collect data, the data can show there needs to be a continuous evaluation of effectiveness, but the data can also show where progress is being made and where progress needs to be made. There also needs to be what's best for students is high achieving professional development for teachers and practical reading skills and expectations with high interest reading for students. So the resolution of the problem is that students will receive high interest quality instruction Instructional strategies will reflect those suggestions of the reading specialist. Staff are better equipped to give high quality reading instruction. There will be progress monitoring of students' reading ability. Students' quality of reading instruction will increase. So there's three things that we were thinking, feeling, and valuing. The first thing that I was thinking was that there has to be a more effective way to teach students to read. Engagement of students and high interest has to be a priority. I was feeling frustrated by the teachers not giving high quality reading instruction and by the district that seems to be hands off and lets Truman figure out their own problems on their own. I felt there had to be a value that steps being taken with the collection of the data and the understanding of the data to guide the change of reading instruction. So there are some unresolved issues. Four of the unresolved issues are reading screeners being given to all students or just a particular group and population of students? How often will progress monitoring occur? Weekly, monthly, biweekly? What value will the students see of the attached reading intervention? What's the end result for the student? And who sets the reading goals for each student? The student, the teacher, or the district? So, what's best for students? How come it took parents complaining for there to be a change in the curriculum? Teachers and administrators can read the data. Students come to the school with a horde of learning levels. They're all over the place. The teachers are going to need effective training to do a job needed to get the levels up and do it in different reading areas. Parents are the ones who got the plan on the go to improve the reading level on the move. The phone calls, the survey, etc., got the attention of administrators to make a change. Through the use of letters, emails, and phone calls, parents were able to express a need for their students and concern for the school, all of which have an impact on the community. Student interest in reading was not increasing, and the data showed the lack of skills being mastered in the area as well. The reading specialist was able to observe and recommend different age-appropriate learning tools to help teachers to be more effective in their instruction. The grant was applied for and the commitment was made to change the current reading curriculum to be more effective at an instructional model. As an administrator, we were to listen to the parents and observe the data. We were able to see what students' levels were and how, as an administrator, how we could teach our teachers to be more effective. As an administrator, we were able to talk to parents, listen to how we could help the parents understand where we were as a school and where we wanted to be and how we were going to get there so that there would be a bigger impact on the community. As an administrator, we sought out the interests of students to make sure students were engaged, students were successful, and students were mastering this area. As an administrator, we were able to apply for the grant and make the commitment to continue for student success and student achievement.